My beloved child, quiet your heart and listen to me. For there are moments when the heavens do not merely cover the earth with clouds and wind, but bow down with a sacred longing. When you see the rain fall and feel your soul grow heavy, it is not only a movement of nature, often, it is a gentle call from above, reaching into the deepest part of you. I do not allow those drops to touch the ground without purpose. I use them as a knock upon the door of your spirit that has long stood barely open. As a tender yet solemn hand upon your shoulder, reminding you that it is time to awaken from false peace. From days lived as though you were near me, when in truth you were only near the habit of religion. As it is written, "Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give you light." Ephesians 5:14. I do not call you to awaken, to frighten you, but to bring you back into the light, not to accuse you, but to rescue you from a life that holds only the shadow of peace while lacking the reality of my presence. Therefore, do not mistake silence for peace, nor busyness for faithfulness. There are souls who pass through their days with lips that still pray, yet hearts that no longer burn, hands that still labor in my name, yet within are dry like land, long deprived of rain. I see all of this, and I do not turn away. My love is too deep to let you rest in a state where you yourself do not realize you have lost your way. So at times, I allow the heavens to weep as a gentle warning. I let circumstances shake, not to cast you down, but to awaken the part of you that has grown numb. For it is written, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Psalm 34:18. These tears from heaven do not come to drown you, but to wash your eyes so you may see again, to help you look within, to stop calling coldness maturity, stagnation, rest, and distant stability. I want you to understand this in the deepest place of your being. There are seasons of the soul that are dangerous, not because of storms, but because of their quiet ease. When everything seems fine, you loosen your guard when nothing visibly pains you. You forget to look within and ask whether the fire still burns or if only embers remain. The enemy of the soul does not always arrive in chaos. Often it comes like a soft covering laid over your awareness, lulling you into sleep with the illusion that all is well. But I am your Father, and I will not allow you to remain in a peace that is not born of truth. So I call, I stare, I touch, not with force to harm you, but with clarity strong enough that you can no longer pretend all is well. Guard your heart above all else, for it is the source of life. Proverbs 4:23. If your heart falls asleep, your life will lose its way. If the source within becomes clouded, everything you do outwardly will lose its vitality. My child, you may think that my awakening is heavy, but in truth, it is an act of mercy. A true shepherd does not wait until the sheep falls into the pit before calling out. A true father does not wait until his child is completely lost before extending his arms. I call you while there is still time. I stir your heart while you can still return. I allow the tears of heaven to fall before the soil of your soul cracks beyond repair. Remember the story of the prophet Elijah in the cave. After great victories, he became weary, withdrawn, and believed everything had come to an end. Yet I did not cast him aside in his exhaustion. I did not speak through wind or earthquake, but through a gentle whisper, drawing him out of the darkness of his soul and restoring his direction. That story is not only for one from long ago, it is a living testimony for you today. When your soul closes, I still know how to reach you. When your heart grows tired, I can still call you back with a quiet voice. After the wind came a gentle whisper. 1 Kings 19:12. This is how I touch those who no longer respond to noise, yet can still be moved by true love. Therefore, when the heavens seem to weep, Do not look with natural eyes alone. Let your soul discern the message hidden within those falling drops. It may be that I am washing away the invisible dust that has settled upon your heart over the years. It may be that I am calling you out of a life that has become merely outward form. It may be that I am reminding you that you are not created to exist within a vague faith, but to live in a vibrant, living closeness with me. I do not desire that you remember me only through memory, nor serve me out of habit. I desire that my breath fill you again, that my light reach into the places you have long avoided, and that you no longer live as one asleep in broad daylight, but rise as one who knows they have been called for a sacred hour. And when you truly awaken, you will see that the tears of heaven are not a sign of abandonment, but evidence of a love that has never ceased pursuing you. I do not weep out of weakness. I let mercy flow because my heart is still turned toward you. I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness I have drawn you. Jeremiah 31:3. Every time I draw you out of your slumber, it is because I still see within you a lamp that can burn brightly, a life that can become a testimony, a heart that can be set ablaze again if it is willing to open. Do not fear awakening, my beloved. Do not resist the call that compels you to examine yourself, for behind that stirring is not condemnation, but restoration, not wrath, but the arm of redemption reaching out to you. So now, I speak to you with both gentleness and resolve. Arise. Return to the hidden place, where no one sees but me. Let the tears of heaven cleanse your weariness, the layers of outward righteousness, and the false peace that has lulled you to sleep for too long. Allow your heart to soften in my presence, your ears to hear again the original call, and your eyes to recognize that this moment is no longer one for delay. I am awakening you not merely to live, but to live rightly, not merely to endure your days, but to shine within your purpose. And when you respond, you will understand that even the rain can be prophetic, that even the tears of heaven can become the beginning of a new life, one where you no longer sleep in forgetfulness, but walk in light, in love's fire, and in true intimacy with me. My child, be still in the depths of your soul and perceive what I am gently touching within you. For there are sounds that do not reach the ear, yet pierce the heart. This voice does not thunder like the storm, nor roar like the wind, yet it carries the power to shake what you believed was immovable. It comes like the morning mist, soft, almost imperceptible, yet it holds the strength of an inner storm, capable of breaking every hardened shell you have built around your heart. I know there are parts of you that have long ceased to feel, hidden corners you call stability, yet they are only the silence of a weary soul. It is there that my sacred weeping reaches not to frighten you, but to awaken you. As it is written, I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. Ezekiel 36:26. For what I seek is not a hardened life, but a heart that trembles at truth and responds to love. Understand this clearly. My child, those tears do not carry the darkness of despair, but reflect the light of a holy and righteous love. When I do not speak in words, it is not because I am silent, but because I am speaking in a way deeper than words can carry. There are seasons when words become too light to penetrate the hardened layers within a person, and so I allow the current of my mercy to wash away what has clouded your vision. These tears do not fall at random. They find the places that need healing, touch the memories that must be softened, and enter the spaces you have never dared to face. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew 5:4. Not as a distant promise, but as a living reality when you allow yourself to be touched by the tears of heaven. My child, I do not weep as humanity weeps. My tears are not a sign of helplessness, but the expression of a sacred movement being set in motion. When mercy and justice meet, when love no longer stands at a distance but begins to act, tears become the beginning of transformation. Before I establish order, I soften what has grown hard. Before I lead you into a new season, I cleanse what belongs to the old. So do not withdraw when you feel your heart breaking open. When emotions you thought long buried begin to rise again, this is not weakness returning, but life being restored. You have kept count of my tossings. Put my tears in your bottle. Psalm 56:8. Meaning that not a single pain of yours is forgotten, and not a single tear of mine falls without a purpose of redemption. Remember the story of the woman who wept at the feet of the Lord, washing them with her tears and drying them with her hair. Where others saw shame, I saw a sacred brokenness. Within those very tears, a life was transformed, a soul was restored, and a new identity was established. It was not her words that performed the miracle, but the stream of tears flowing from repentance and a longing to be touched. Do you see, my child? When tears reach the right place, they are no longer a sign of weakness, but become the gateway to rebirth. As it is written, her many sins have been forgiven, for she loved much. Luke 7:47. And that love was revealed through tears that were not hidden. Therefore, when you find yourself standing under the rain I am allowing to fall upon your life, do not close yourself off. Do not rush to shield your soul from the softening work I am doing. What was once hardened within you, frozen thoughts, buried emotions, places you have not allowed anyone to touch, is now being made tender again. Not to weaken you, but to bring you back to life. What once clouded your sight of me is being washed away so that light may pass through clearly. What once dulled your hearing to my call is being cleansed so that you may hear again with clarity and life. And your heart, which once tightened under pain or disappointment, is being opened once more to receive the mercy I have never ceased to give. My beloved, I believe this: no one steps into new life without passing through a process of cleansing. No true restoration is built upon a foundation that has not been softened and touched. That is why the rain you are experiencing is not a sign of loss, but evidence of preparation. I am making way for the new by purifying the old. I am drawing you closer by removing what has kept you distant. Return to me, and I will return to you. Malachi 3:7. And every tear I allow is a bridge spanning what once seemed an unreachably wide distance. So do not be afraid of what you are feeling. Do not label this rain as something to avoid. Stand beneath it with an open heart, trusting that I know exactly what I am doing. For when the rain is past, you will not be the same. Your eyes will be clearer, your ears more attentive, and your heart more alive. You will no longer remember me as a distant memory, but know me as a living presence moving within every breath. And when you look back, you will understand that it was the tears of heaven that led you into new life, a life no longer dry, no longer distant, but filled with closeness, healing, and a light that never fades. My child, look again at what you once called loss with new eyes. For there are moments when I am at work and you perceive only collapse. When a door closes, when a relationship fades, when a dream you cherished dissolves like morning mist. It is easy for you to believe that something precious has been taken from you. But I say to you with both gentleness and certainty, not everything that leaves you is something you have lost. Often it is something I am removing to lighten your heart, to prepare space for something greater that you were not yet ready to carry. As it is written, all things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8:28. And that includes what you do not understand, what has made you weep, and what you believed had come to an end. Understand this deeply within your soul. There are seasons when I do not speak through words, but allow circumstances to become my voice. You see departure. I see release. You see collapse. I see foundations being rebuilt. You see emptiness. I see space being prepared for a new, indwelling presence. My tears do not always come in forms you recognize. Yet they flow through these very shifts, through the moments that cause you to pause, to reflect, and to face yourself. I do not take away in order to leave you empty. I remove what does not belong. What occupies space meant for something greater. For if I allowed you to hold on to everything, you would carry old burdens into a new season, and the new would be suffocated before it could even begin to grow. Every branch that bears fruit he prunes, that it may bear more fruit, John 15:2. And that pruning often resembles loss. Yet it is in truth preparation for greater abundance. My child, do not be afraid when your life seems to be dismantled piece by piece. I do not tear down to destroy, I tear down to rebuild. There are structures within you, thought patterns, beliefs, attachments that were formed upon unstable ground, yet you have held on to them out of familiarity. If I did not intervene, you would continue living in what appears to be a safe house, yet is already cracking from within. That is why I allow what does not belong to your future to fall away, so you will not remain trapped in your past. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. But you cannot step into what is new if your hands are still clinging to the old, and your heart remains marked by what has not yet been cleansed. Remember the story of Job, who endured a loss beyond human comprehension. He lost his possessions, his family, and the very stability he once knew. In the eyes of man, it was tragedy, yet within my deeper work, it was a refining process leading him into a more profound knowledge of me. When everything external was stripped away, what remained was the truth of his relationship with me. And when that process was complete, not only was what he had lost restored, but it was multiplied. More importantly, Job declared, "My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you." Job 42:5. Do you see? My child, loss is not the end. It is a doorway into deeper encounter, where you no longer know me through hearsay, but through living experience. My beloved, there are things I cannot pour into you while your heart is still weighed down by what belongs to the past. I cannot place new blessings upon ground that has not been cleared. Just as a farmer cannot sow seed upon soil filled with stones without first preparing it, the tears of heaven are the rain that softens the soil of your heart, washing away the dust of yesterday and preparing it for new seed. Without that rain, the seed cannot take root. Without that cleansing, what I give cannot remain. Those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. Psalm 126:5. For tears are not meaningless loss. They are the beginning of a harvest you have not yet seen. So instead of resisting what is leaving you, ask me, Father, what are you cleansing within me? Instead of holding tightly to what is falling apart, open your hands and allow me to complete my work. I know what must remain, and I know what must go. You do not need to understand everything in order to trust. You only need to know that I never act outside of love and perfect wisdom. When you allow me to cleanse you, you will find your heart becoming lighter, clearer, and more ready for what I am preparing. My child, have the courage to stand in this rain. Do not run. Do not close yourself off, for it is here, within what feels like loss, that I am reshaping you, purifying you, and leading you into a season where you no longer carry what once weighed you down. And when the rain is past, you will realize that nothing was taken from you. You were renewed, You are not abandoned. You were led forward. You were not ended. You were begun again in a deeper, cleaner, and closer reality with me than ever before. My beloved child, listen deeply within your heart, for I am speaking to you not through the sounds of the world, but through the pulse of truth itself. Long ago, my eyes were set upon you, and I called your name in places where you had not yet come to know who you truly are. Yet I did not hastily send you forth while your inner being remained weighed down by the dust of former days, by wounds not yet healed, by thoughts not yet purified. For if I were to place you into position while your soul was still burdened, what you carried would weigh you down and cause your steps to falter. So I allowed the winds to rise not to knock you down, but to blow away what did not belong to you. I allowed the waters to rise not to drown you, but to wash away the deep layers of residue. I allowed the storms to come not to destroy you, but to reflect the unrest within that you had long avoided facing. As it is written, He will refine them as silver is refined, and test them as gold is tested. Zechariah 13:9. For what I am doing is not punishment, but refinement, so that you may carry greater things without breaking. My child, do not diminish the value of your tears. I have allowed them to fall, not to weaken you, but to deepen you. There are things that cannot be understood by reason alone, but only through a heart that has been broken open. Only when you have passed through long nights of weeping can you truly recognize the gentle sound of real comfort. Only when you have tasted brokenness can you lift others with a compassion that is genuine and unforced. And only when you have stumbled yourself can you take another's hand and help them rise without judgment. For it is written, The God of all comfort comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble. 2 Corinthians 1:3-4. Your tears do not weaken your faith, they deepen its foundation, moving you beyond words into lived experience with me. Look at the journey of Joseph, who was betrayed by his own brothers, sold as though he were nothing, and forgotten in darkness. To human eyes, it was a sequence of injustice and loss. Yet within my working, it was preparation for a position where he would preserve the lives of many. Each dissent, each misunderstanding, each abandonment became a tool to shape his heart, so that he would not carry bitterness into authority. And when he rose, he did not say, I have overcome, but declared, You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Genesis 50:20. Do you see, my child, what once caused him pain became the very foundation of his calling? In the same way, the tears you shed today are quietly becoming seeds for the glory that will be revealed tomorrow. My beloved child, now I am calling you out of the slumber of what has become familiar. You have heard many gentle words and felt the embrace of comfort. Yet I do not desire that you remain there. My love is not only a soothing touch, it is also a shaping hand. I do not only comfort, I also correct. For if I only made you feel at ease without transforming you, I would not truly love you. The Lord disciplines the one he loves, Hebrews 12:6. Not to wound you, but to restore you to your rightful place. My justice is not destruction, it is the restoration of what has been set out of order. I have not come to tear you down, but to rebuild you according to the image I established from the beginning. Yet before I build, I must bring down what is misaligned. Before I heal, I must touch the wound. Before light floods in, I must allow you to pass through a measure of darkness so your eyes may learn to see clearly. Do not fear the darkness you are walking through, for even there, my tears are soaking into the soil of your heart. The places within you that hardened through pain, disappointment, and injury are now being softened. And when the soil becomes tender, new seeds can be planted. What you believed was ending a relationship an opportunity. A dream was often my way of clearing the ground so something new could begin. Those who hurt you did not come to destroy you, but to reflect the areas within you that needed healing. Every misunderstanding, every betrayal, every tear, these are all in my hands as instruments of purification. Everything exposed by the light becomes visible, Ephesians 5:13. And once the light shines, what does not belong to truth cannot remain. My beloved, if you are not cleansed, you will carry remnants of the old into the new, and those remnants will cause you to stumble. If you are not refined, you will not stand when circumstances shift. But I love you too deeply to allow you to step into your destiny unprepared. I do not only want you to arrive where I have called you, I want you to remain there, to function there, and to fulfill what I have ordained. That is why every tear today is not loss, it is an investment into your future. Every time you are broken, you are being reshaped. Every time you are undone, you are being rebuilt in ways you have never understood. So open your heart to this process. Do not resist what I am doing, even when you do not fully understand it. Trust that the hand touching your life is the same hand that formed you. And when the storm passes, when the waters recede, when the winds grow still, you will no longer be who you once were. You will rise with a soul that has been cleansed, a heart that has been softened, and a faith that is no longer shallow. And when I send you forth, you will not go in your own strength, but in the depth that these very tears have formed within you. My beloved child, lift your eyes now from the traces of former days, for the sky above you has grown clear after the rain has fulfilled its purpose. The tears have ceased, not because my heart has withdrawn, but because what needed cleansing has been touched. You no longer need to wipe away the remnants of the past, for my own hand has already cleansed them. You no longer need to strive to prove your worth before anyone, for I, the one who sees into the depths of your soul, have affirmed you before you even knew how to name yourself. As it is written, I have called you by name, you are mine, Isaiah 43:1. In this light, you are no longer one who fears exposure, but one who has been purified within the light itself, with nothing left to hide. From this moment forward, you are not only one who has been awakened, you are one who carries awakening. What I have done in you will not stop within you, it will flow through you. Your words will no longer be empty, but will carry the warmth of the fire that once burned within your own heart. Your steps will no longer be uncertain, but will carry the living water that once washed your soul. You will live as one who knows they have been cleansed, not to remain still, but to be sent. You are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14. And that light does not come from your effort, but from what I have accomplished within you. When you speak, the weary will be refreshed. When you walk, darkness will begin to shift, not because you have become perfect, but because you have allowed me to complete my work in you. My beloved child, remember this: the tears of heaven are not a moment that has passed, but a living stream that continues to flow. Each time a soul returns, each time a weary heart is made new, each time someone dares to say yes in the midst of deep darkness, that stream moves again. And now, you are no longer merely standing beneath that rain. You have become part of the flow itself. You are a vessel through which purification is carried forward, where love and justice meet in living action. Whoever believes in me, as Scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them, John 7:38. This is not a metaphor alone. It is a reality now beginning to unfold within you. Understand this deeply. When heaven moves, the earth cannot remain still. When the waters from above touch a soul, what is old loses its right to remain. You are entering a new awareness, where justice no longer causes you to tremble in fear, but becomes a torch that lights your path. My justice is not a blade that destroys, but a light that restores what has been set out of order. It does not push you down, but lifts you into your rightful place. So do not avoid this part of the journey, the very part many fear because it reaches into the deepest places within. Yet I tell you, this is the part I cherish most, for it is here that truth is revealed and freedom is established. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. John 8:32. But before it frees, it must first be brought into the light. So be still for a moment in my presence, not to seek comfort, but to allow the work of cleansing to be completed within you. There are things that must be separated, not because I desire to take you away from yourself, but because I desire to restore you to who you truly are. I am using the blade of the Spirit, not to wound, but to discern what is alive and what is dead, what is true and what is false, what comes from me and what is merely a shadow of the past. The Word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword, discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart. Hebrews 4:12. When this separation takes place, you will not lose yourself. You will be freed from what was never truly you. My beloved, do not fear when it feels as though something within you is being opened and examined. This is not punishment, it is the deepest form of healing. A true physician does not avoid the wound. And I, the one who formed you, know exactly what must be removed so that you may live fully. My justice is not cold, it is always wrapped in love. And that love will not leave you in a half-formed state. It draws you into wholeness, even when the process is difficult. For I do not desire merely to comfort you, I desire to transform you. Therefore, when you rise from this place, you will not be the same. You will walk with a light that cannot be hidden, with a heart that has been refined, and with the understanding that you no longer belong to what once defined. And when you look upon the world, you will not see through eyes once clouded, but through eyes cleansed by the tears of heaven. You will see more clearly, love more deeply, and walk more firmly. And you will know this is not the end of a journey, but the beginning of the glory I prepared for you long before, a glory not built on your strength, but on the work I have completed within you. My beloved child, do not be alarmed when everything in your life feels as though it is being turned upside down, as if what once seemed stable has suddenly fallen into disorder. I have not abandoned you in those moments. On the contrary, it is precisely then that my light is reaching into the deepest places within you that have never before been touched. The chaos you feel is not a sign of neglect, but evidence that I am at work. When light enters a room that has long been closed, the dust rises and the darkness is disturbed, and it may seem as though everything has become worse. But in truth, it is the beginning of cleansing. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. Light does not come to shame you, but to free you from what has held you back for far too long. My child, whenever I allow something within you to be exposed, it is not to condemn you, but to rescue you from it. There are wounds you have carried for so long that they have become familiar, to the point where you have mistaken them for your true self. But I see deeper. I know what I have placed within you, and I know what has attached itself to you over time. And because I love you, I cannot allow you to continue living in that confusion. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. Yet before healing comes, I must touch the wound before binding. I must cleanse it, and that process may cause pain, not because I desire your pain, but because truth, when it reaches hidden places, brings with it a confrontation you are not accustomed to. Allow me to do my work in the way that I know is complete. At times I cleanse you with fire, the fire of testing, burning away what does not belong to you. At times I cleanse you with tears, softening your heart so you cease resisting and begin to feel again. And at times I choose silence, a deep stillness where you can no longer run from yourself, where you are compelled to face what you have long avoided. Do not fear those silences, for it is within them that you will hear me most clearly. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. True healing does not come through avoidance, but through the courage to face, to accept, and to allow me to reach the very root. My beloved, I know you often ask for blessing, for open doors, for good things, and I hear you. Yet I also know that blessing cannot be poured upon a foundation that has not been cleared. I cannot build something new upon ruins that have not been removed. For the fragments of the old would fracture the new the moment it is established. Therefore, I cleanse before I build. I clear before I give. This is not delay, it is preparation. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. 2 Corinthians 5:17. But for the old to truly pass away, it must be recognized, released, and washed clean. Understand this. My justice is not like human judgment. I do not expose to humiliate, nor bring things into the light to push you down. My justice is the action of love, restoring everything to its rightful place. When I reveal what has been hidden, it is so that you may be freed from it. For as long as it remains concealed, it continues to influence you in silence. But when light shines upon it, its power is broken. Everything exposed by the light becomes visible. Ephesians 5:13. And once it is made visible, it can no longer bind you. My child, look at me in this moment, not as one standing far away to judge, but as a Father who is very near. When the light of my justice reaches the deepest part of you, I do not look with cold eyes, but with eyes filled with tears of love. I see you struggling within layers of fear, of sin, of memories that have caused you to withdraw, and my heart is moved. I do not turn away, I draw closer. I do not say, clean yourself and then come to me, but rather, come and let me cleanse you. Come to me and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. This rest is not an escape from truth, but an embrace within it. Therefore, do not run from the light that is shining into your life. Do not close your heart when you feel as though everything within you is being turned upside down. This is not destruction, it is liberation. What is being exposed is not meant to define you, but to depart from you. And when this process is complete, you will no longer carry the dust of what once was. You will rise lighter, clearer, and freer. And when I begin to build again upon the ground that has been cleansed, what I establish will stand firm, will endure, and will reflect the original image I placed within you. From the beginning, an image no longer covered, no longer distorted, but radiant in love, in truth, and in the life I have ordained for you. My beloved child, listen deeply to what I am whispering within your soul. For the pain you feel when everything is brought into the light is not a sign of destruction, but a sign that life is touching what was once hidden. Darkness does not cause pain when it stands alone. It begins to resist only when light draws near. That is why the parts of you that once lived quietly in the shadows are now reacting, not because they are strong, but because they are losing their hold. As it is written, everything exposed by the light becomes visible. Ephesians 5:13. And in that very moment when light makes contact, you feel most clearly the collision between what is old and what is being made new. Do not stop in the middle of this process, for I never work halfway. I do not cleanse one part and leave the rest behind. I do not purify, only to leave remnants that can draw you back. What I begin, I will complete until your soul shines as it was always meant to. When I cut away, do not think I am taking something that belongs to you. I am separating what is false from what is true. When I burn, do not fear that you will be undone. I am removing only what cannot remain in the light. When I am silent, do not conclude that I have withdrawn. Within that stillness, I am shaping you more deeply than words ever could. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters, Psalm 23:2. And at times, that stillness is not comfort, but a sacred space where there is no noise left for you to hide behind. True justice does not require noise. It is formed in hidden places, where only you and I remain, where every layer is stripped away and only truth is left. My child, I know your heart desires for everything to happen quickly. You want to move beyond this process, to see the results, to reach the glory you have heard about. But I tell you this, true cleansing cannot be rushed. Fire must remain long enough for gold to be purified. Water must penetrate deeply enough to cleanse the root. If I were to move at your pace, you would step into what is new with an unstable foundation, and the pressure would cause you to break. As it is written, after you have suffered a little while, God will restore you and make you strong, firm and steadfast. 1 Peter 5:10. That completeness does not come through haste, but through the process I am leading you through. Remember the story of the prophet Isaiah when he beheld my glory. Before he was sent, before he could say, "Here am I, send me," he first had to confront his own uncleanness. Then a seraphim touched his lips with a burning coal, an act not comfortable, yet necessary for purification. Only after that could he stand in my presence and receive his commission. Do you see? My child, before I entrust authority, I give you a mirror so you may see yourself. You cannot carry light if you still fear being exposed by it. You cannot stand in authority if you have not learned to examine yourself in truth. Therefore, the lesson I am teaching you, the lesson of transparency before heaven, is among the most precious foundations you can receive. When things within you are brought into the light, do not rush to condemn yourself. I do not reveal in order to accuse. I never condemn what I am healing. There is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1. If I bring something into the light, it is because I intend to free you from it, not to label you with it. Let your tears flow when they must. For tears in this process are not signs of weakness, but signs of surrender, a releasing that allows grace to enter. When you stop striving to prove that you are fine, when you cease holding tightly to an image of being right, that is when your heart opens wide enough to receive true healing. Grace does not come to a clenched spirit, it flows into a softened one. My beloved, understand justice as I see it. The world calls justice punishment, repayment, and suppression. But my justice restores order. When justice comes, I do not lower you. I bring down the pride that has clouded your sight. I do not silence your voice. I remove the false voices that have led you astray. I do not take away your freedom. I restore true freedom, the kind that is no longer ruled by passing emotions or old wounds, but is anchored in truth. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. When you stand in your rightful place within me, you are no longer pulled in every direction. And from that place, everything around you begins to realign. When your soul is set in its proper place, you will see alignment emerge, not through your effort to control, but because order has been restored within. And when that work is complete, when justice has fulfilled its role, grace will enter in fullness, not as a covering to hide, but as a living current that nourishes, sustains, and carries you forward. You will no longer fear the light, because you have become familiar with it. You will no longer fear being seen, because you have been healed within that very exposure. So, my child, do not withdraw your hand from mine in this process. Do not stop simply because it is painful. Walk with me to the end, for the end is not exhaustion, but clarity. And when you emerge from this season, you will not only be lighter, but truer, not only stronger, but deeper. This is the place I am leading you into a life no longer divided, but whole in truth, in light, and in a love that never leaves you. My beloved, engrave this deeply within your soul. My justice and my love are never in opposition. They beat together as two rhythms of the same living heart. When justice touches you, it keeps you from straying. When love surrounds you, it keeps you from breaking along the way. One teaches you to recognize what is wrong so you do not wander. The other teaches you to trust what is right so you do not lose your way. And when these two streams meet within you, you will no longer be driven by fear, but guided by holy reverence, a reverence that does not shrink you, but steadies you in the light. As it is written, mercy and truth have met together, righteousness and peace have kissed. Psalm 85:10. This is the picture of what I am doing in you, a union that brings you into wholeness. Now, let your heart become still after my work has passed over you like a cleansing rain. Do not look back at what has been burned away, for only ashes long to return to the place of fire. You no longer belong to what has been consumed. You belong to the light now opening before you, forgetting what lies behind and reaching forward to what lies ahead. Philippians 3:13. What once weighed you down and pulled you backward will now become the force that lifts you higher. The trials you have walked through were not failures, but instruments that have completed their purpose to bring you back to the true identity I placed within you from the beginning. My beloved child, I do not require you to appear strong in order to be worthy. What I seek is a pure soul, a heart that has been washed, that has released its grip, that is willing to become soft again in my hands. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Matthew 5:8. When you are made pure, you see clearly. When you are softened, you can be shaped. When you trust, you no longer need to prove yourself. Those who have been purified through my justice no longer strive to establish their worth. They simply walk in step with the Spirit. And within that rhythm, you will begin to understand that glory is no longer a distant destination, but the very atmosphere you live in, the space you breathe each day. Therefore, do not remain still any longer. When your soul has been awakened and your heart has been cleansed, the time for movement has come. Yet understand this well, this is not the anxious haste of human striving, but the velocity of the Spirit, a movement that is precise, without excess, without delay. In this movement, former delays lose their authority to restrain you. Doors that once stood closed will open at the appointed time. Promises that once seemed distant will begin to unfold. As it is written, those who hope in the Lord shall renew their strength. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. Isaiah 40:31. You will no longer move by your own effort, but by the current of grace that rises from within you and carries you forward. My beloved, learn to move within me rather than striving to move for me. When I move, heaven aligns. When I speak, unseen realities begin to reorder themselves. And you, the one I have chosen, do not need to run ahead to make a way, nor strain yourself to maintain the pace. You need only remain in me. Listen and follow Walk by the Spirit, and you will not fulfill the desires of the flesh. Galatians 5:16. As you walk in this way, you will witness something remarkable. What once felt difficult will become effortless. What once was closed will open, and what once seemed distant will draw near. Remember this, my child, you were not cleansed to return to old paths, but to step into a new reality. You no longer live under the pressure to prove yourself, but under the assurance that I have already affirmed you. You are no longer driven by fear, but drawn by love and positioned by justice. And in that union, you will not merely move forward, you will advance with steadiness, without wavering, without losing your way. So go, my beloved, but go in rest. Step forward, but step within the flow. Live, but live as one who has been washed, chosen, and sent. From this moment on, you are no longer one searching for the path. You are one already walking in it. And that path does not lead you to glory. It is glory itself, unfolding through every step you take, in every breath you breathe, and in your very life as you remain fully in me. My beloved, engrave this deeply within your spirit. The velocity you long for is not born from busyness, nor from doing more, striving harder, or moving faster than others. It arises from something far deeper, the complete alignment of your will with the will of heaven. When you no longer act for me, but with me. When you no longer direct yourself, but allow me to guide each step, something extraordinary happens. Time no longer moves as you once knew it, but begins to bend under the power of obedience. As it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. It is precisely at the point where you release control that you enter true acceleration. Understand this, my child, not every movement is forward progress. There are steps that appear swift, yet carry you farther from your appointed place. If the direction is not right, speed will only take you deeper into misalignment. Therefore, the first strategy I teach you is not to run, but to align. When you stand in the right position, when your heart is no longer divided among competing voices, when you obey even without full understanding, then the wind of the Spirit will begin to lift you. The wind blows wherever it pleases, so it is with everyone born of the Spirit. John 3:8. You will no longer need to generate your own momentum, for you will have entered the current where I am the source of movement. But if you step outside that flow, no matter how hard you strive, you will feel the weight and the weariness return. So I have not called you to compete with anyone, nor have I placed you within comparison. I have called you into rhythm to move in harmony with heaven, where each step you take is no longer an isolated effort, but part of a greater design. When you come into that rhythm, you will discover that what once required strength now becomes natural. Doors that once remained closed begin to open at the appointed time. Opportunities that once seemed distant begin to find their way to you. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He causes me to stand on the heights. Psalm 18:33. This is not the result of your own striving, but the fruit of alignment between you and me. My beloved, do not be troubled when you realize that your pace differs from those around you. Those who are sent carry a timetable not measured by the clocks of this world. There are moments when I slow you down, not because you are wrong, but because I am preparing the wind ahead. If you rush while I am arranging, you will miss the very force I intended to carry you farther. There are times when I lead you into solitude, not to isolate you, but to separate you from noise, so I may inscribe strategy upon your heart and stillness. He brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. Psalm 18:19. That spacious place does not come from the crowd, but from clarity within. Remember this, my child, the velocity of glory is not measured by the number of people around you, but by the clarity of your soul. When your heart is no longer pulled in many directions, when you no longer strive to satisfy competing voices, when your eyes are fixed on a single path, the one I am leading you, enter a state where you no longer need to strive to rise. You are simply lifted. Those who hope in the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall soar on wings like eagles. Isaiah 40:31. But understand this clearly. Those wings are not something you manufacture. They are the result of trust and alignment. My child, I am teaching you a principle that few truly grasp. True acceleration does not come from pressure, but from obedience. When you obey, you do not only move correctly, you move faster than you ever thought possible. When you stand in the right position, what I have prepared begins to find its way to you, rather than you striving to chase it. And as you walk in that unity, you will no longer feel as though you are trying to live rightly, but you will sense that right living is flowing through you naturally. So, my beloved, do not compare your journey with that of others. Do not fear the slower seasons, and do not become complacent in the faster ones. Always return to this simple yet profound question: am I aligned with you? For when you are in the right place, everything else will begin to adjust. And when that happens, you will discover something you have never fully understood before. You are no longer the one striving to move forward. You are the one being carried, lifted, guided, and brought into the exact moment, the exact place, and the exact purpose I have ordained from the beginning. My beloved child, open your heart to understand what I am placing before you, for the doors that are gradually opening are not random, nor are they the result of coincidence. Every new connection you encounter, every opportunity that appears along your path, every place you are invited to step into, all are part of a map I designed long before you recognized your own way. But remember this well, not every open door is meant for you to walk through. There are doors I open simply for you to pause, to bow, and to become aware of my presence. As it is written, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. There are places not meant for action, but for worship, not for possession, but for listening. Therefore, before every decision, do not rush forward simply because a door stands open. Ask within the depths of your soul, is there light here? If it is a place I am leading you, you will sense a clarity that does not come from reasoning, but from a deep and settled peace. But if there is no light, no matter how wide the door may be, you must learn to pause, for velocity without discernment becomes a burden, and you will grow weary even while you appear to be moving forward. The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Proverbs 4:18. Light always goes before you, it never follows behind your steps. My child, I have not called you to wander without direction, nor placed you in a journey driven by restless haste. I have called you to walk in precision, where every step carries meaning, every movement holds direction, and every decision is tied to an eternal design. The world celebrates speed, but in my kingdom, precision is what sustains you. If you move in the right place, at the right time, and in the right way, you will not need to run quickly to arrive where I have ordained. But if you move out of alignment, no matter how fast you go, you will only drift further from your appointed place. So guard your spirit like a conductor keeps the rhythm of an entire orchestra. A single note out of place can distort the whole symphony. When I say stop, do not continue simply because momentum is carrying you. When I say go, do not hesitate because fear still lingers. What he opens, no one can shut. and what he shuts, no one can open. Revelation 3:7. Your obedience is not measured only by what you do, but also by your willingness to stop at the right moment in the velocity of glory. Delay is not merely lost opportunity, it can become misalignment with the current I have set in motion. My beloved, I am training you to live not by shifting emotions, but by the signals of the Spirit. Emotions will rise and fall. Circumstances will change, but my voice never wavers. There will be times when I lead you forward without full understanding, and in those moments, faith becomes your strength. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. You do not need to see the whole picture to step correctly. You only need to trust that I have gone before you, that every step you take is held within my guidance. Remember Abraham, the one who left what was familiar without knowing where he was going. He did not possess a detailed map, but he carried trust, and it was that trust that led him into the destiny I had prepared. So it is with you. Not everything I call you to will be clear from the beginning, but if you wait until you understand everything before you move, you will miss the doors that open only in the moment of obedience. My beloved child, when you stand in the right place, you will begin to witness something beyond your own understanding. Everything starts to align. The people you need to meet will appear. The resources required will be provided, and the doors meant to open will do so at the appointed time, not because you have controlled it, but because you have placed yourself within the flow that I am directing. All things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8:28. This is not merely a word of comfort, it is a principle by which heaven operates. Therefore, walk with awareness. Do not be drawn by the attraction of opportunities simply because they present themselves. Seek the light. Seek the peace. Seek my confirmation. And when you discern it, move forward without hesitation. When you walk in this way, you will no longer be one searching for the path. You will be one walking within the path already prepared. And in that path, you will discover that you are not striving to fulfill my plan. Rather, my plan is being fulfilled through your life step by step, with precision, in perfect timing, and with glory. My beloved, listen deeply within your soul, for what I am speaking is not merely a call, but a repositioning of who you are. I have not sent you simply to accomplish outward tasks, nor have I placed you in this journey as a laborer for a distant goal. I have called you to express me through your life. You do not merely carry a mission, you are a living mission. When you forgive in the place where you were once wounded, I am revealed. When you stand firm under pressures that once caused you to fall, I am seen. When you touch others with kindness, heaven bears witness that my light is spreading through you. Let your light shine before others. Matthew 5:16. Not so that you may be exalted, but that the one who placed that light within you may be glorified. So, walk in holy reverence, not the fear of punishment, but a deep awareness of the rhythm of heaven. Every action in this season carries spiritual weight. Every decision releases ripples beyond what you can see. You are no longer living an ordinary life. You are operating within a reality where each step can open or close unseen doors. Fear the Lord and serve Him faithfully with all your heart. 1 Samuel 12:24. This reverence will guard you from misalignment when the pace increases, and it will preserve your discernment when opportunities begin to multiply. But my child, keep your heart humble when I lift you up. Do not let elevation cause you to forget your roots. Glory is not given so that you may stand out, but so that I may be revealed more clearly through you. God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. James 4:6. Remember, grace is not a throne for you to sit upon and look down on others. It is the wind that lifts you so you may see farther, serve deeper, and love wider. The one who is sent does not live to seek applause, but to complete what has been entrusted. And that work is often accomplished in hidden places where no one sees. But I see, where no one applauds, but heaven records. Your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. Matthew 6:4. Now arise, breathe deeply, and become aware of the shift taking place around you. The wind is changing direction, and this is not by chance. It is the sign of a season of acceleration I have long prepared. What once moved slowly will begin to advance. Promises that seemed delayed will be unlocked. Dreams you thought had ended will come alive again with a strength beyond what you imagined. But hear me clearly. This velocity is not given for display, but for completion. Not for your name to be known, but for the timing of heaven to be fulfilled. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. Ecclesiastes 3:1. You are stepping into that moment not early, not late, but precisely on time. So go, but not with careless excitement lacking discernment, but with deep awareness. Speak not from the confidence of the flesh, but from the authority of truth written within your heart. Act not from ambition to achieve, but from faith that knows I have already prepared much before you begin. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4:6. This is the principle of true acceleration, a movement that does not exhaust you, but sustains and lifts you. My beloved, do not forget that everything you have passed through, every tear, every refining fire, every silence that felt like abandonment, none of it was in vain. All of it has been woven into a process of preparation, carving into you what no earthly teaching could impart, softening what needed to be softened, and strengthening what needed to be strengthened. These have now become the foundation beneath your steps. Those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. Psalm 126:5. The season of sowing has passed, and the harvest is coming, but not a harvest to keep, rather a harvest to give. Therefore, my child, step into this moment with clarity of heart. This is an hour of glory, not glory for you, but glory through you. This is an hour of movement, not chaotic motion, but precise alignment. This is an hour of commissioning, where you no longer ask, "Am I ready?" but recognize that I have already made you ready. And as you walk in that awareness, you will no longer feel as though you are striving to accomplish something, but will begin to see that I am accomplishing my work through your life, through every word, every step, every breath in a glory that does not fade. My beloved, arise in the stillness that has been purified within you. For what I am calling you into is no longer a process, but a living operation. When the tears have completed their work, they do not disappear. They are transformed into light that guides your steps. When my justice has touched your heart, it does not leave wounds, but leaves a softness that allows you to feel, to love, and to walk without being bound by what once held you. And when my call has sounded through the wind, you no longer need to seek additional signs, for the very breath within you is the evidence that I am with you, within you, and moving through you. As it is written, those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. Romans 8:14. And you are being led not by emotion, but by a living current within. My child, do not look back at what has already been washed away. The past is no longer a place for you to return to, but a testimony of transformation. If you continue searching for old traces, you will miss the light that is opening before you. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. What is new is not found in what you have already understood, but in what you are willing to step into. Everything you have walked through, the long nights of tears, the seasons of silence, The moments of breaking, none of it was without purpose. They were corridors, pathways leading you to where you now stand, a place where you no longer merely hear about glory, but begin to walk within it. Understand this deeply. My beloved, you were not awakened merely to know, but to begin. Awareness is not the destination, it is the doorway. You were not cleansed only to become pure, but to become a source of light. You are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14. And that light does not exist to be hidden, but to shine. You were not sent merely to perform outward acts, but to reveal the presence of heaven through every detail of your life. As you walk, you do not carry a mission alone. You carry the very atmosphere of heaven itself. Therefore, my child, step forward, but step as one who has received mercy, no longer hardened toward others. Go, but go as one who has been chosen, no longer questioning your worth. Act, but act as one who has been sent, no longer lost among endless choices. Walk in a manner worthy of the calling you have received. Ephesians 4:1. That worthiness does not come from striving to be perfect, but from living in alignment with what I have already done within you. My beloved, do not seek glory as though it were a distant place you must reach. Do not imagine it waiting somewhere ahead, reserved for the moment. You have completed enough to deserve it. Glory is not found at the destination. It is present within your very walk. When you live in union with me, when you allow me to be revealed through you, every step you take carries light. Every word you speak carries life. And every action you make bears the imprint of heaven. Christ in you, the hope of glory, Colossians 1:27. This means you do not need to search for glory elsewhere. You need only walk in what has already been placed within you. So go with a steady heart that is not weighed down, with steps that are firm yet unhurried. Let your breath align with the rhythm of heaven, so that you no longer move by your own strength, but by the current of the Spirit. And as you walk in this way, you will realize that you are not merely living a new life, you are becoming a living testimony, a witness that mercy is real, that cleansing is real, and that glory is not a distant promise, but a present reality unfolding through your life day by day, step by step, breath by breath. Thank you for receiving this message. Know this, you are not merely a listener, you are one who has been chosen to live daily within the presence of the Word. Do not forget to remain attentive, to stay awakened, and to continue walking in what has been revealed to you. Amen. My beloved child, there are moments when you find yourself wondering why your heart feels unsettled without a clear reason, as though an unseen wind is gently lifting the layers of memories you once tried so carefully to cover. But I tell you this, what you are experiencing is not meaningless turmoil, nor is it a weakness of the mind. It is the sign of a sacred work unfolding, an invisible hand reaching into the deepest places of your soul to bring light into the corners where darkness has long resided. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. And so, when my light touches those hidden places, nothing concealed can remain still any longer. You see, familiar faces may suddenly seem distant, and connections you once believed were firm begin to reveal their fractures. This is not meant to make you lose faith, but to free you from building your foundation upon what cannot endure. I am teaching you something that words alone cannot fully express, that truth, even when it brings momentary pain, is the only path that leads to freedom. As it is written, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. So what is being revealed is not destruction, but the breaking apart of invisible chains that have held you in old patterns for far too long. Listen to me deeply. My child, the pain you carry is not newly formed, It is simply being named. The wounds you once hid, especially those that came from places you once called safe, have quietly shaped the way you see the world, the way you respond, and even the way you love. But I will not allow you to continue living under the influence of those fractures. I am reaching into your very foundation, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you. Just as a wise builder does not construct upon unstable ground, I will not allow you to remain standing on what has already caused you to tremble. My beloved, look again at what you have called brokenness. In your eyes, it appears as damage, but in my hands, it becomes the place where I pour in light, like a master craftsman who does not discard a cracked vessel but transforms its fractures into something uniquely beautiful. I do not cast you aside because of your wounds. Instead, I use those very places where you were hurt to reveal my grace within you. What you once believed to be your weakness will become the place where my light shines most clearly. Therefore, do not be afraid when emotions rise within you. Do not rush to silence the memories that return. This is not a sign that you are moving backward. It is a sign that you are being set free. A door cannot be closed unless it has first been opened. A wound cannot be healed unless it has first been touched. I am allowing all things to come into the light, not so that you relive the pain, but so that it no longer has power over you. As it is written, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. So what I am doing is not exposing you and leaving you there, but touching you in order to restore you from the deepest place. Trust me in this process, even when it feels uncomfortable. What I am doing is not merely to help you feel better for a moment, but to reshape the very structure within you. I am teaching you to no longer build your worth on how others have treated you, but on what I have declared over you. When you stand upon that foundation, no betrayal will be able to define you, and no wound will have the power to lock you into your past. And then, you will come to realize something deeper. You are not only being healed, you are being transformed. You are not simply escaping pain. You are stepping into a level of freedom you have never known before. You will look back on what has happened, no longer through the eyes of someone wounded, but through the understanding of someone made new. And in that moment, you will see that everything I allowed was not meant to destroy you, but to prepare you for a life in which my light is no longer hidden, but fully revealed through you. My beloved child, there are things now being brought into the light that you once did not want to face, like invisible cords that have wrapped around your soul over the years. I am not only showing you what others have done, but also unveiling the deep-rooted patterns that caused you to doubt yourself, that led you to shrink in order to survive within boundaries I never set for you. Words that seemed gentle, yet cut deeply into your mind. Glances that made you diminish your own worth. Expectations that forced you to live a life disconnected from your true identity. All of these I am now revealing, not to draw you into bitterness, but to awaken you to the truth that has long been hidden from you. As it is written, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalm 139:14. So your value has never been diminished by the way others have treated you. And from an even deeper place, I am touching those moments when you turned the blade against yourself, when you blamed yourself, punished yourself, and carried burdens that were never yours to bear. You learned to take responsibility for what you did not cause, and you became accustomed to accepting fault just to preserve a fragile sense of peace. But I tell you the truth, you were never the problem. You were simply someone who lived too long within a distorted system that you came to believe was normal. And now, as I open your eyes, you begin to see clearly what you once accepted as truth were merely patterns passed down from one person to another, like an unseen inheritance. But you, my chosen one, were not born to continue that legacy. You have been called to bring it to an end. My beloved child, I know you were taught to remain silent when you were hurt, to endure in order to preserve peace, to shrink yourself so that others would not feel uncomfortable. You learned how to smile while your heart was aching, how to say "I'm fine" while something inside you was breaking apart. You were taught that speaking up was wrong, that protecting yourself was selfish, that forgiveness meant continuing to endure what harmed you. But those teachings did not come from me. As it is written, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind." 2 Timothy 1:7. So you were not created to live in fear or to diminish yourself, but to stand firmly in truth and in love. Remember the story of the woman who had been bent over for 18 years, bound by a force that would not allow her to stand upright. When I saw her, I did not merely heal her body, I broke the invisible chain that had kept her bowed down for so long. I declared, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." Luke 13:12. And immediately she straightened up and glorified God. Do you see? My child, I did not teach her how to endure life in a bent posture. I set her free so she could stand upright. And I am doing the same for you, not teaching you to adapt to chains, but breaking them. Therefore, do not confuse true peace with false silence. My peace is not built on the sacrifice of your soul to satisfy others. My peace is established in truth, in freedom, and in your rightful position in me. You are not called to maintain a fragile harmony that requires you to abandon yourself. You are called to walk in the light, where every falsehood is exposed and loses its power over you. As it is written, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled." Matthew 5:6. So the longing for truth within you is not wrong. It is the sign of a soul awakening. Understand this clearly. My child, what I am revealing is not meant to stir anger within you, but to restore your ability to choose. When you see clearly, you are no longer led by old patterns. When you recognize the truth, you are no longer forced to live within roles that were placed upon you. And in that awakening, you begin to step out of the position of a victim and into the position of one who carries authority. You are not strong because you were never broken. You are strong because I have lifted you from the very place where you fell. So rise, my beloved, not with hardness, but with clarity. Speak not to wound, but to establish truth. Walk not in reaction, but in the freedom I have opened before you. For I am not only healing you, I am shaping you into one who carries light, one who breaks the chains that have bound generations before you. And as you walk in this calling, you will no longer be defined by your past. You will become the one who opens a new future, not only for yourself, but for all who will come after you. My beloved child, let me open before your eyes a vision your soul can truly grasp. There are creatures born for the vastness of the skies, yet they begin their lives within a narrow nest. At first, that nest is a place of protection, a warm embrace shielding them from the harsh winds. But there comes a moment, appointed and precise, when the very place that once sheltered them begins to feel restrictive, rigid, even painful. The twigs press against their bodies, the comfort fades, and an inner stirring begins to rise, not to destroy, but to propel. Do you see? My child, that discomfort is not your enemy. It is the quiet summons that it is time to spread your wings. As it is written, "Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles." Isaiah 40:31. So the pressure you feel is not an ending, but the sign of transformation unfolding. And when you look back at what you have called betrayal, injustice, or being pushed out of places once familiar, I want you to see them through a different lens. They were not forces meant to pull you down, but forces permitted to lift you higher. The very things that wounded you have awakened you from a long slumber. The places where you felt you no longer belonged have opened your eyes to the truth that you were never created to remain confined within old limitations. I did not allow those moments to break you. I allowed them to separate you so that you would no longer be held in spaces that could not contain your destiny. If the nest had remained comfortable, you would never have discovered your wings. Without the friction, you would never have sought me with a heart truly awakened and hungry. Remember David, who was pursued by the very king he once served faithfully. That injustice did not strip him of his identity, it revealed it. In the days of fleeing, he did not become a victim of circumstance. He became one who learned to take refuge in me. As he declared, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer." Psalm 2. So, in the wilderness of rejection, he was being prepared for the throne. Being driven out of the palace was not his downfall, it was his formation. And so it is with you. What you are experiencing is not rejection, but preparation, not abandonment, but refinement. My beloved, understand this clearly. What I am establishing is not retaliation, nor is it an emotional balancing as the world perceives it. My justice is the restoration of divine order, where everything is realigned to its rightful place. What has been distorted will be made clear. What has been misaligned will be set straight. And in this process, you are not called to carry bitterness, for that burden was never meant for your heart. As it is written, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay," says the Lord. Romans 12:19. So your role is not to return pain, but to step out from under its weight and into the freedom I am giving you. But deeper still, my child, this intervention is not only to help you see others clearly, it is to bring you into the revelation of who you truly are. You are no longer the one who strives to preserve a false peace by sacrificing your own soul. You are no longer the one carrying the weight of a broken system that was never yours to fix. You are no longer the one who allows the failures of others to define your worth, and you are no longer merely surviving from day to day. You are being transformed into one who carries authority, one who knows their identity in me. I am refining you like a craftsman sharpens a blade not to destroy it, but to make it precise and effective. The marks you once tried to hide are now becoming the signature of your formation. The very places where you were wounded are becoming the places where you receive a strength that cannot be taken from you. From there, you no longer walk as one pushed back, but as one sent forward. As it is written, "I am sending you out like lambs among wolves." Luke 10:3. Yet you do not go alone. I am with you, within you, and working through you. So rise in this new awareness. My child, you are stepping into a season where you are no longer led by your past, but guided by my word. A season where you no longer react from wounds, but act from truth. A season where you no longer live as one who is shaped by circumstances, but as one who shapes them. You are sent not only to walk in freedom, but to become a pathway through which that freedom flows to others. What has never been seen in your lineage will begin with you, not because of your own strength, but because you choose to walk with me. And when you rise and take flight, you will look back at the old nest without resentment, but with understanding that it was only a necessary stage. You will see that every discomfort, every rejection, every pain has worked together to bring you exactly where I intended you to be. And from that higher place, you will no longer ask why, but you will declare, "All things work together for good to those who love God." Romans 8:28. You were not abandoned, you were lifted. You were not rejected, you were sent. And from this place, you will soar not by your own strength, but by the strength of the one who gave you wings from the very beginning. My beloved child, before you try to make sense of everything that is happening, hold firmly to this truth as the foundation of your soul. I am for you, not according to fleeting emotion, but according to the unshakable justice of heaven. I do not stand at a distance when you are in pain, nor do I withdraw when you feel weak. On the contrary, it is in the very moments when you feel most fragile that I draw closest to you. As it is written, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. So your pain does not push me away, it draws me nearer. You may think that your wounds have diminished your worth, but I tell you the truth, not a single wound has the power to reduce the dignity I placed within you from the beginning. Listen to this deeply. My child, I have seen every moment you pressed your lips together to keep from crying. Every time you swallowed your words for fear of making things worse. Every night you lay still while your heart felt like it was breaking within you. None of it has been hidden from my sight. As it is written, see, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Isaiah 49:16. So not one of your sorrows has been forgotten. Not one sigh has fallen into emptiness. I hold them all, not to remind you of your pain, but to transform them into something meaningful within my purpose for your life. Therefore, my beloved, when you look back on what you call betrayal, I do not ask you to deny the truth of what was done. What they did was wrong, that does not change. Their actions truly wounded you and shook you deeply. I never ask you to pretend that everything is fine when it is not, but I invite you to look beyond wounded emotions and see a deeper reality where my power is at work. As it is written in the story of Joseph, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Genesis 50:20. So, what you have gone through has not escaped my control, nor has it disrupted my purpose for you. Consider that journey, my child. When Joseph was thrown into the pit, it seemed like a moment of darkness that ended all hope. Yet that very pit became the first doorway leading him out of his old life. When he was sold, it was not the end of his dignity, but a movement into the place I had prepared for him. When he was forgotten in prison, it was not abandonment, but a purposeful delay so that the appointed time could be fulfilled. And when the door finally opened, every moment before it aligned into a clear path, not arranged by human hands, but guided by me from beginning to end. Do you see? My beloved, I did not allow those things to happen so that others might prevail over you. I allowed them so that my purpose could be fulfilled through you. Without those moments of being pushed out, you might have remained in a place too small for your destiny. Without those fractures, you might have continued clinging to what could never sustain you in the long run. And without that pain, you may never have sought me with the depth of longing you now carry. But remember this, my child, what I do is not to justify the wrongdoing of others. I do not call light darkness, nor do I call evil good. I name things as they truly are, yet I am also the one who has the power to transform what was meant for harm into something that serves your good. As it is written, all things work together for good to those who love God. Romans 8:28. So, there is no event in your life that lies beyond my power to redeem. Therefore, my beloved, release the need to understand every reason all at once. Allow me to lead you through this process with trust. For what matters most is not merely what has happened to you, but what I am doing through it. I am repositioning you. I am drawing you out of old limitations. I am placing you into a position you could never have entered had you remained where you once were. And the time will come when you look back and no longer see yourself as a victim of what occurred, but as one who was guided through it. You will no longer view your wounds as signs of defeat, but as evidence of transformation. And in that light, you will recognize that everything, even the most painful moments, has become part of the path that led you exactly to where I intended you to be from the very beginning. My beloved child, pause for a moment and let this be etched into the deepest part of your soul. My justice does not operate the way the world understands it. People often seek balance through retaliation, through confrontation, through proving who is right and who is wrong. But I do not establish righteousness through collision, I establish it through restoration. I do not draw you into cycles of judgment, because your heart was never created to carry such a burden. As it is written, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay," says the Lord, Romans 12:19. So when you release the need to make things right by your own strength, you step into the rest I prepared for you long ago. Understand this clearly. My child, I do not speak these words to threaten, nor to destroy those who have wounded you. I speak them to protect you, to keep you from being bound to anger, from being imprisoned in the identity of a victim. For if you hold on to the right to judge, you will carry it every day, and it will become a weight that exhausts your soul. But when you place it in my hands, you are set free. I bring everything into its rightful place without lacking justice, yet never without mercy. My justice always moves together with healing, because my ultimate purpose is not destruction, but the restoration of what has been disordered. Therefore, my beloved, what I am doing is not merely closing an old chapter, it is establishing a new framework for your future. What you have endured will not be allowed to repeat itself. The voices that once caused you to doubt yourself will no longer have authority to shape you. The connections that weakened you will gradually lose their influence, because I am setting boundaries in your life that did not exist before. As I declared to my people, you shall again plant vineyards and enjoy their fruit. Jeremiah 31:5. This is not only an image of restoration, but a promise that you will live and grow in an environment that no longer suffocates your soul. Remember Abraham. When I called him to leave his land and his family, I did not simply bring him out of a place, I brought him into a new reality where he could become who I had destined him to be. Had he remained, old patterns would have continued to shape him. But when he stepped forward in obedience, I reestablished everything, his identity, his relationships, and his future. As it is written, "Go from your country to the land I will show you." Genesis 12:1. Do you see? My child, sometimes movement is not merely a change of location, it is a transformation of the entire system in which you live. My beloved child, I am doing the same work in your life. I am not merely addressing old wounds, I am preparing you for an entirely new way of living. A place where you no longer have to bend just to survive, but can stand firmly in truth. A place where the air is no longer heavy with invisible pressures, but light because of my presence. A place where you no longer need to defend yourself against words that wound, because I have placed you under the covering of my grace. And in that new land, you will learn to live differently. You will no longer react out of fear, but act from a place of inner steadiness. You will no longer shrink back to avoid being hurt, but open your heart with clarity and discernment. You will no longer seek acceptance from places that were never able to give it, but recognize that you are already fully accepted in me. As it is written, you shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. Isaiah 55:12. So your steps from this point forward will not be driven by struggle, but guided with purpose. Rise into this awareness. My child, you are no longer in the old place where you had to make yourself small just to endure. You are stepping into a wide and open space where you can breathe, where you can grow, where you can become everything I placed within you from the beginning. And in that space, you will no longer bow your head in fear, but lift it in peace. Not because everything around you is perfect, but because you know I am with you, establishing each step, setting each boundary, and unfolding each new season in your life. My beloved, there have been nights when you whispered within yourself, "Why me? Why did I have to go through this?" I heard those questions before they were even formed into words, and I did not turn away from them. I answered you not with accusation, but with revelation. You were not chosen to suffer meaninglessly. You were chosen to bring an end to what has bound generations before you. What you have gone through is not a sentence, it is a quiet training, where I am building within you a strength that no institution could ever provide. As it is written, after you have suffered a little while, God Himself will restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. 1 Peter 5:10. So what you call fire, I call the refining that shapes authority within you. Look deeper. My child, if you had never faced betrayal, you would not understand the heart of the wounded. If you had never tasted injustice, you would not be able to stand firmly in righteousness without being pulled into bitterness. If you had never been pressed to your limits, you would never discover the strength I have placed within you. I am not making you hardened, I am making you profound. I am not turning you into someone cold. I am forming within you a heart that is both tender and steadfast, able to feel without being overwhelmed, able to discern without becoming harsh. In this very process, I am building a foundation within you upon which those who come after you will stand without falling as before. My beloved, do not confuse pain with weakness. When you weep, you are not losing strength. You are releasing what needs to be healed. When you grow weary, you are not losing faith. You are learning to lean on me. I have never required you to pretend to be strong. I am not seeking a perfect image. I am seeking a truthful heart. As it is written, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. So the place where you bring me your pain is not a place of judgment, but a place of restoration. True strength is not found in hiding your wounds, but in placing them into the hands of the one who can heal them. Remember the story of Elijah, the prophet who once stood firm before kings and people, yet later collapsed under a tree in the wilderness from exhaustion. I did not rebuke him for his weakness. I sent an angel to care for him, to give him food, to let him rest, and only then did I lead him forward again. As it is written, get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you. 1 Kings 19:7. Do you see? My child, I do not demand strength from you when you are not ready. I tend to you in your weakness so that when you rise, it is true strength, not forced by your own striving, but sustained by my hand. Therefore, my child, I do not want you to erase your memories, nor do I want you to remain trapped in them. I want you to remember, but to remember rightly. Remember so that you can see you were carried through, not abandoned. Remember so that you can recognize that what could have been far worse was covered by my protection. Remember so that you may understand that even when everything seemed to collapse, I was still holding you from destruction. As it is written, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1. So your memories are no longer evidence of your wounds, but testimonies of my preservation. And now, my beloved, I place upon you a new truth, like an anointing oil that seeps into every part of your soul. You are no longer defined by what you have been through, nor are you bound to those who have caused you pain. You are defined by the calling I have placed upon your life. Even if they could not see your worth, I have always seen it clearly. Even if your story has been distorted in the eyes of others, I remain the one who rewrites it in truth. Even if some have left you, I will never depart from you. As it is written, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Hebrews 13:5. So, my presence is the unshakable foundation beneath your life. My child, you are stepping into a new season, not carrying the fears of the past, but walking in a new authority. You are no longer led by unhealed wounds, but guided by the peace I have sealed within you. You are no longer living to avoid pain, but to reveal the light I have placed inside you. And in this season, I will do what you have not yet seen. I will guard you from what once weakened you, restore what was lost, and position you in a place where you will not only stand firm, but help others stand firm with you. My beloved, you are no longer standing in a place where old memories pull you backward. You are standing at the edge of something greater, a threshold from which everything will be seen in a different light. I declare this not as mere encouragement, but as confirmation from heaven's authority. Rise up, but not as one striving to prove your worth, rather as one already affirmed by me. As it is written, those he justified, he also glorified. Romans 8:30. So your rising does not begin with effort, but with identity already established. Feel this within your soul. You are not returning to an old position to begin again. You are being placed into a new position you have never stood in before. I have quietly cleared what was within you, the voices that caused you to doubt, the memories that made you withdraw, the emotional cycles that held you captive. They have been weakened, stripped of authority, and no longer have the right to define you. As it is written, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. So you are no longer bound by what you once believed in error, but are stepping into a reality where truth becomes the foundation for every step you take. And in that new space, I am not only freeing you from what was, I am enlarging your territory. This is a place where memory is no longer the loudest voice, but my truth resounds with clarity. Here, pain no longer dictates your reactions. My justice now guides the way you walk. You no longer live in contraction to protect yourself, but in openness shaped by discernment. As it is written, you shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. Isaiah 55:12. So your steps from here carry a quiet certainty, without strain or striving. My beloved, look at yourself again, not through the lens of your past, but in the light of what I have done within you. Your posture is no longer that of one pressed down, but of one who has passed through fire and has not been consumed. As it is written, when you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. Isaiah 43:2. So the fire did not destroy you, it refined you. You do not carry bitterness, for I have removed it. You do not carry the need for retaliation, for I have replaced it with holiness. And in that holiness, you are no longer pulled downward by what was, but lifted upward into what is being made new. Remember Esther, who was brought into the palace not merely to dwell in safety, but to rise at the appointed moment and fulfill what I had ordained. She did not step forward with fear, but with the awareness, who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Esther 4:14. Do you see? My child, elevation is not only a privilege, it is preparation for purpose. And so it is with you. What you have endured was not merely for survival, but for equipping. Now I have spoken on your behalf in a realm you cannot see, a vindication that does not come from people, but from me. You no longer need to bow under false narratives spoken over your life, nor carry the labels others once placed upon you. I have rewritten your story, and my word holds authority above every other voice. As it is written, if God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. So your stability does not depend on human acceptance, but on my affirmation. Therefore, my beloved, step forward, not with the fear of yesterday, but with the authority of today. This is not a return, it is a repositioning. This is not an attempt to begin again, but the continuation of what I have been forming within you all along. You walk now as one vindicated, as one set free, as one sent, and this lifting cannot be stopped, for it does not originate from man, but from my unchanging purpose. My beloved child, pause for a moment and sense what I am placing into your hands, not a burden, but provision. I do not call you out of darkness with empty hands, nor do I send you into a new journey unprepared. I am clothing you with what is from heaven, not as a symbol, but as a living reality. As it is written, put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand firm. Ephesians 6:11. So everything I give you is not for you to seek battles, but so that you will no longer be brought down by the things that once caused you to fall. When you allow truth to wrap around your soul like a firm and unshakable belt, every lie that once clung to you will begin to fall away on its own. The voices that once caused you to doubt, that made you shrink back, that falsely defined who you were, will no longer have any ground to stand on. And when you place upon yourself the helmet of salvation to guard your mind, you will begin to recognize that the sense of worthlessness that once haunted you was never your true nature, but only a fog that has now been driven away by light. As it is written, surely God is my salvation, I will trust and not be afraid. Isaiah 12:2. So your mind will no longer be a battlefield of confusion, but a place of peace that is carefully kept. And my beloved, when you raise the shield of faith, the unseen arrows that once came from familiar places, words, memories, rejection will no longer pierce you. They may still be released, but they no longer have the power to wound, for you are no longer standing in your own strength, but within my covering. I have not only called you out of what was, I have placed in your hands the ability to never again be bound in the same way. What once reached you will now fall short, because you are positioned differently. But my child, the authority I am giving you does not begin with what you hold, it begins with who you know you are. If you do not know your identity, you will easily believe what others say about you. But when you are rooted in who you are in me, no voice will be able to mislead you. As it is written, you are a chosen people, a holy nation, 1 Peter 2-9. So you are not the product of what you have endured. You are the expression of what I have ordained. Understand this deeply. My beloved, you do not live only for yourself. You are the beginning of a change that those before you were not able to complete. Cycles of pain, silence, and distortion, they come to an end with you, not because you are stronger than everyone else, but because you have chosen to walk with me. When you rise, you are not only lifting yourself, you are opening a path for those who will follow after you. When you are healed, you are not only finding freedom for yourself, you become a doorway through which healing can flow outward. So I expand your vision beyond what you have known. Do not look at the future through eyes that were once clouded by past pain. Look instead with eyes that have been cleansed by my righteousness. You will begin to see doors you never noticed before, opportunities untouched by the patterns of the past, connections that do not repeat what once was, and you will hear my voice more clearly, because the noise that once overwhelmed you has been quieted. As it is written, my sheep hear my voice, and they follow me, John 10:27. So my leading will no longer feel distant or unclear to you. You will move forward with greater ease, not because you are rushing, but because you are no longer held back by unseen ties. You will love more deeply, not because fear has vanished entirely, but because you have been healed enough to love without losing yourself. You will serve with greater strength, because the places that once made you weak have become the very places where I have placed authority within you. What was once a breaking point has become a place of strength. What once caused you to withdraw has become the place where you now shine. Therefore, my beloved, walk forward, not as one still searching to discover who you are, but as one who already knows where you belong. I have placed within you everything you need. I have called you, equipped you, and affirmed you. From this place, you no longer move in fear, but in the steadiness of one who knows they are not alone. I am with you, and I am working through your very life, my beloved child. Engrave this deeply within you as an unshakable foundation. You do not walk alone, even before you became aware of it. My covering was already going before you, like the cloud that once led my people through the wilderness, making a way where none seemed possible. And behind you, my protection has never departed like a wall of fire surrounding Elisha, causing unseen armies to retreat. You are not abandoned in the empty spaces of your life. You are surrounded, protected, and guided step by step. As it is written, the Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31:8. So my presence is not a distant promise, but a living reality you are already walking in. And deeper still, my child, I am not only before you or behind you, I am within you. Just as breath entered the dry bones in Ezekiel's vision and raised them into a living army, I am breathing life into the parts of you that once felt lifeless, the dreams that were buried, the desires that were silenced, the areas of your soul that felt exhausted. I am restoring them all. As it is written, I will put my spirit in you, and you will live. Ezekiel 37:14. So you no longer function by your own strength, but by my breath sustaining you from within. My beloved, let this truth sink into the deepest place of your being. I am not the one who calls you and then withdraws, nor the one who sends you out and watches from a distance. Everything I begin in you, I personally walk with you to complete. There is not a single step you take that I am unaware of, nor a single trial you face where I am absent. As it is written, the Lord will go before you, he will not leave you. Deuteronomy 31:8. So my presence is not an abstract idea. It is a living reality surrounding every moment of your life. Understand this, not only with your mind, but with deep awareness. Every step you take carries the imprint of my guidance. There will be moments when you feel as though you are walking alone, but that is only because your eyes cannot yet see what is happening in the unseen realm. I am ahead of you, preparing the way. I am beside you, strengthening you. I am behind you, protecting you. As it is written, you hem me in, behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Psalm 139:5. So you are never outside the reach of my covering. And when you step into trials that cause your heart to tremble, I do not stand by watching you struggle. I am intervening quietly yet powerfully in ways you may not immediately perceive. There are things that would have happened but were restrained. There are doors that should have remained shut, yet I opened them. There are dangers you never even knew existed, yet I blocked them before they could reach you. As it is written, the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Psalm 34:7. So you are not merely protected, you are surrounded by protection. Open your heart to recognize this. You are not fighting alone. When pressure seems to come from every direction, when you find yourself standing in situations beyond your own capacity, that is not the moment you are abandoned. It is the moment when the armies of heaven are moving most strongly on your behalf. As it was written when Elisha opened his servant's eyes, those who are with us are more than those who are with them. 2 Kings 6:16. So you are not alone in the battlefield. You are upheld by forces unseen by the natural eye. My beloved, I do not heal you and then leave you to manage the rest on your own. My healing is not a single moment, it is a journey. I walk with you, step by step. When you are weak, I lift you. When you falter, I steady you. When you lose direction, I realign you. As it is written, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. Psalm 32:8. So you are not left to find your way alone. I am the one who leads you. Therefore, my child, release the fear that you must carry everything by yourself. You were not created to bear that weight. You were created to walk in trust, trusting that I am there, even when you do not clearly feel it. And as you walk in this awareness, your heart will grow lighter, your steps will become steadier, and your mind will be filled with peace. Remember this as an unchanging truth. My child, you are not abandoned in the middle of your journey. You are not forgotten in your trials. You are not left behind in your moments of weakness. I am with you fully, continually, without interruption, and in all things, whether you perceive it or not. I am still working for you, through you, and within you, bringing you to the place I ordained for you from the beginning. Therefore, my beloved, I place within your soul a word as a final seal, one that cannot be erased. Rise up, not as one still carrying shame, but as one who has been released from what never belonged to them. Rise from the stories others have written incorrectly about you, from the roles you were forced to carry, from the pressures that once caused you to forget your true self. As it is written, arise, shine, for your light has come. Isaiah 60:1. So your rising is not an act of personal striving, but a response to the light that has already been given to you. You no longer carry the posture of someone wounded, struggling merely to survive. You now bear the image of an anointed warrior, one who has passed through fire and has not been consumed, one who has been preserved for a greater purpose. You are covered not so you may hide, but so you may step forward with steadiness. You are healed not so you may return to the past, but so you may move into the future with a heart sealed in peace. Walk forward, my child, not with the cries of yesterday, but with the strong breath of a soul restored. Your hands are no longer empty, for I have placed within them the mark of authority. Your heart is no longer confused, for I have aligned you with wisdom from heaven, and the path before you is no longer uncertain, for I am walking with you step by step. This is not coincidence. This is divine intention. Your season has opened. No one can shut what I have opened. Step into it with firmness, with peace, with the clear knowing that you belong to me. And in all things, remember this: I go with you. I do not leave. I do not change. I will never abandon you. My beloved child, before the wave of this visitation settles within you, I want you to receive one final thing, not merely as passing emotion, but as a conviction rooted deep within your soul. The words you have heard are not sounds that pass by and fade. They are descending into the deepest places within you, where wounds once lingered unseen. I do not speak merely to comfort you. I speak to awaken you. I do not speak merely to soothe you. I speak to transform you. As it is written, my word will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire. Isaiah 55:11. So what I have spoken today is already at work within you, whether you can yet perceive it or not. You have walked through darkness that once seemed without escape, yet that darkness could not hold you. You have tasted deep betrayal, yet it has no authority to define you. You learned to live in silence as a means of survival, but now that silence no longer imprisons you. I am placing something new within you, not a repaired version of who you once were, but a completely restored being. As it is written, If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. 2 Corinthians 5:17. So, you are not returning to repeat what was. You are moving forward to reveal what has never been seen before. Hear this clearly. My child, you are not going back to the way you once thought, feared, or avoided. You are not continuing as one merely trying to get through each day. You are walking as one who has been brought into new territory, a place where old limitations no longer apply. What once made you tremble is now becoming the ground from which I lift you higher, not because you overcame by your own strength, but because I am working within you, as it is written. For it is God who works in you to will and to act according to his good purpose. Philippians 2:13. So the strength you carry does not come from striving, but from my quiet work within. You do not need to struggle to hold your place. What I have established for you does not depend on human recognition. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth, for that worth has already been sealed by me. And what I have sealed, no force can undo. As it is written, you were sealed with the Holy Spirit, Ephesians 1:13. So you no longer live in uncertainty, but in an unshakable affirmation. Therefore, my beloved, walk with a peace that does not come from circumstances, but from the knowing that you are upheld by heaven. This is not an abstract idea. It is an unseen reality surrounding your life. You no longer move with the anxiety of having to hold everything together yourself, but with the assurance that I am holding you. As it is written, the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4:7. So within you, there is no longer chaos, but a place kept secure by my presence. Continue forward, my child, not as one haunted by what has been, but as one stepping into what has already been appointed. You do not carry your former self with you. You carry my mark upon you. You are not living to repeat the past. You are living to reveal the future I have prepared. And with every step you take, you will begin to understand more clearly. You are not only healed, you have been awakened. Not only rescued, you have been sent. From this moment on, what you do will no longer flow from fear, but from the assurance that I am with you fully, unchanging, and always guiding you along the right path. My beloved child, from this moment forward, you no longer move as one dragging unhealed wounds behind you, but as one who has been touched, restored, and anointed by my own hand. I have not merely mended what was broken within you, I have awakened the strongest part of you that I placed there from the beginning. I am calling forth the courage that was once hidden to rise again. I am igniting the spiritual life within you that once lay quietly beneath the surface, now burning like a fire that cannot be extinguished. As it is written, fan into flame the gift of God that is within you. 2 Timothy 1:6. So what I am doing is not creating something new from nothing, but awakening what has long been within you. Understand this clearly. I do not send you because you are perfect. I send you because you belong to me. I do not lift you up because you are without flaw, but because I have chosen to use your journey as a light for others. What you once carried as a burden now becomes living evidence that my grace is sufficient in every circumstance. As it is written, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. So the very places you once saw as weakness are now the places where my strength is most clearly revealed. Look back, my child, not to be pulled into the past, but to recognize that you have been preserved through it all. Darkness attempted to cover you, but it could not consume you. Betrayal tried to break you, but it could not define you. Silence once confined you, but it no longer has authority over you. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. So your life stands as living proof that my light can never be extinguished. Therefore, my beloved, from this day forward, you no longer walk with the mindset of a victim. You walk as a warrior, not a warrior of anger, but of life, not carrying the sword of revenge, but carrying the breath of heaven within you. You do not move to prove anything to others, but to reveal what I have done within you. You do not walk merely to escape your past, but to lead others out of the places where they remain bound. Remember the woman at the well in Samaria, who once lived in shame and was rejected by society. Yet when she encountered me, she was no longer one who hid herself. She became a messenger who carried truth to an entire city. As it is written, the woman left her water jar and said, "Come, see a man." John 4:28-29. Do you see? My child, her story imperfect and marked by human judgment became the very key that opened transformation for many. And I will do the same through you. You are living evidence that darkness does not have the final word. You are a witness that pain is not the end. You are a sign that when I am with someone, nothing can ultimately destroy them. And now, I send you not as one still searching for identity, but as one who knows where they belong. Go forward, my child, with the breath of heaven within your chest, with my peace within your mind, and with the authority I have placed upon your life. From this place, you do not merely exist, you carry life. You do not only stand firm, you help others rise. And in every step you take, the world will see this truth. The one who carries me never walks alone, and is never overcome by darkness. My beloved, let these words settle within you like an unshakable seal. Walk forward, not with the hurried steps of one still uncertain, but with the steady movement of one strengthened from within. Walk with a sharp stillness, a peace that is quiet, yet so deep that nothing can disturb it. Walk with a gentle confidence, not rigid, not boastful, but enduring like roots that have been planted deeply in me. As it is written, be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. So the stillness within you is not passivity, but strength governed by my presence. Feel this clearly. Your heart is no longer under the weight of what once pulled you down. I have lifted you out of the pit you thought you could never escape. What once belonged to your old environment, the pressures, the distorted expectations, the suffocating voices, no longer has authority over you. As it is written, He lifted me out of the miry pit and set my feet upon a rock. Psalm 40:2. So the place where you now stand is no longer unstable ground, but a firm foundation. Therefore, my beloved, walk as one who knows with certainty that darkness cannot stand before light. Every scheme once formed in hidden places will dissolve when you stand in the position I have appointed for you. Not because you are stronger in yourself, but because you are aligned with where I have placed you. As it is written, the weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world, but have divine power to demolish strongholds. 2 Corinthians 10:4. So your strength is not found in resistance, but in remaining rooted in truth. You do not walk alone. I have gone before you. Every path you step into, I have already touched. Every door you see, I have already prepared. You do not fight alone. I am acting on your behalf in ways you cannot yet perceive. And you do not need to force open your way. I am the one who opens doors that no one can shut. As it is written, I have set before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. So, what lies ahead of you is not dependent on your ability, but on my intention. Understand this deeply. My child, the old season has truly come to an end. This is not merely a feeling, it is a shift that has already been established in the spiritual realm. What once held you back has lost its authority. Old cycles have been cut off, and before you stands a new door untouched by the past, unmarked by the pain that once shaped you. As it is written, "Behold, I am making all things new." Revelation 21:5. So, what you are entering is not a continuation of what was, but the unveiling of what is new. So step into it, my beloved, not with the fear of yesterday, but with the light I have ignited within you in your darkest night. That light does not come from circumstances, but from me. It has been tested in darkness, and therefore it cannot be extinguished. And as you walk in that light, you will come to see that you are not only being led, you are becoming a light for those who are still in the night. Go forward, my child, steady, at peace, and assured, for I go before you. I am with you, and I am completing what I have begun within you. Nothing can stop what I have opened. And you, the one I have called, are stepping into the very place where you belong. My beloved child, now that your soul stands at the threshold of a new season, and the light I have kindled within you no longer trembles before the shadows of the past, I desire that you not only move forward, but that you learn to anchor yourself in deep communion with me, a place where words are no longer mere sounds, but become a living current flowing between heaven and your soul. You do not enter this journey alone, nor do you walk it without the voice of your heart being lifted up. For it is in the place where you open yourself that I move most powerfully. It is in the place where you offer yourself that I pour out. And it is in the place where you humble yourself that I lift you up. As it is written, "Call to me and I will answer you." Jeremiah 33:3. So your prayers do not vanish into emptiness. They reach me, the one who listens to every beat within you. So, now, let your heart open fully in sincerity. Offer to me the deepest cry within you, as a child returning to their father, without concealment, without fear, without holding anything back. O Almighty God, the one who sees into the deepest places of my soul, I bring before you all that I am not only the parts that appear strong, but also the hidden places of weakness I once tried to conceal. I do not come before you with a perfected image, but with the fullness of truth within me, touch the deepest places of my being, where wounds have shaped my thoughts, my emotions, and my actions. Remove from me every trace of fear, every shadow of doubt, every voice that once caused me to shrink. As it is written, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." Psalm 51:10. I ask that you restore me from within, so that I no longer live according to what was, but walk in the newness you have given. Loving Father, the one who has never abandoned me in my weakness, I ask that you teach me to stand firm in your truth. When old memories attempt to return, when familiar voices try to rise again within my mind, let me not be carried away by them, but let my feet remain planted on the unshakable foundation of your word. Let me no longer seek my worth in the approval of others, but recognize that my value has been established by you alone. As it is written, I have called you by name, you are mine. Isaiah 43:1. Let this truth be sealed within my soul as a mark that cannot be erased. O healer of every broken heart, I bring before you the parts of me that still ache, still feel tender, still have not yet fully stepped into freedom. I do not hide them, nor do I try to repair them by my own strength. I place them entirely into your hands, for I know that only you can reach the deepest root and make me whole. Let my healing not be merely for comfort, but for transformation, so that I may become stronger, deeper, and prepared for all that you have ordained. As it is written, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147, 3. I trust that there is not a single part of me beyond your power to restore. O God of guidance, I ask that you open my eyes to see the path ahead through the light of your truth. Let me no longer walk in fear, nor hesitate in uncertainty, but move forward with the assurance that you go before me. May every decision I make no longer be a reaction to my past, but an act of obedience to your present leading. As it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and he will direct your paths. Proverbs 3, 5, 6. I surrender the direction of my life into your hands, trusting that you will never lead me astray. O sender and caller, I do not ask only for myself, but I ask that you use my life as an instrument in your hands. Let nothing I have endured be wasted, but let it become a pathway through which I can reach those who are still where I once was. Let my words carry life, my presence carry peace, and my actions carry light. As it is written, you are the light of the world. Matthew 5, 14. Let that light not be hidden, but shine clearly and powerfully through me. Faithful Father, I offer you my deepest gratitude, for you did not abandon me in my darkest days. When I did not understand, you still held me. When I was weak, you still lifted me. When I thought I could not go on, you strengthened me. As it is written, thus far the Lord has helped us. 1 Samuel 7, 12. I look back and recognize that every step I have taken bears the mark of your hand. And O giver of life, I also thank you for the new season you are opening before me. I am grateful that I am no longer held captive by my past, no longer defined by my wounds, no longer bound to what once restrained me. I thank you for placing me into a new position, a new space, a new reality where I can breathe, grow, and walk in freedom. As it is written, if the Son sets you free, you shall be free indeed. John 8:36. I step into that freedom with gratitude and complete trust. My beloved child, as you offer these words, know that I do not only hear you, I am answering you, not always in the way you expect, but always in the way that is best for you. And from this place, when you rise from prayer, you will not be the same as when you first knelt. For I have touched you, renewed you, and I am leading you forward steadfast, at peace, and filled with light. Thank you for listening to this message. Know that you are not merely a listener, you are chosen to live in the presence of the Word of God each day. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss any spiritual messages. Amen.